Hello everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome, welcome. Hello. Good evening. I'm on just a few minutes early tonight to give everyone a chance to get the notification. So welcome in. Welcome everyone. Hello. Good to see you. Hi from Florida. Oh, hello. I've been waiting. Oh, well, hi. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Good to see all of you. I am trying to work on my angle a little bit here. Whoops, that's not the right angle. Let me see if I can get it here. Here we go. There we go. We might be okay there. We'll have to see here. We may have a bit of a problem later, but until later comes, we'll be okay. Here we go. Let me see. Nope. Oops. Well, kind of. Hold on. Let's see if it's really very okay. Here we go. Back up again. Whoops. There we get it. just yes, just starting everybody. Sorry. Hold on here. I'm trying to. Nope. Oh, he's got a hat. That's so funny. All right. There we go. Well, we'll do our best. We'll do our best here. Here we go. I hope this. Oh my goodness gracious. It's a bit floppy. How's pinball? Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. I love going and playing pinball. I think it's a great way. Oh my goodness. It's a great way to hang out and just blow off some steam after a rough day or just any kind of day whatsoever. So always quite enjoyable. All right, there we go. I think we got it. We're set. Good evening. Hello, Suze. Hello. My camera's just a little bit off, but I think we'll be all right. I think we'll make it. Hello from Illinois. Hello. From Boise. Yes. So, of course, I do enjoy playing the pinball, but my very favorite game, of course, is Burger Time. So, yes. That's I tried to pull myself away long enough to go and play, but yes, toner money, of course, is always needed. Oh my gosh, everybody, these these pictures tonight. Oh my gosh, I'm going through my ink like it's just water, but I have a very good recycling situation. So, oh my God, oh Oklahoma, well hello. Yes, hi John, good to see you. Yes, so I do enjoy my Burger Time game, I have to admit. And then I would have to say probably Galaga's probably my second favorite game, I would have to say. I mean, I'm just, telling all my secrets tonight from Australia. Well, hello, welcome. Yes, so we do have a lot of fun. We have a barcade that's just down the road. That's kind of like our Cheers for anyone that remembers that show. So we do like to go and hang out and have fun. Oh, I know, Galaga is great. Kitties are okay. They had the zoomies earlier, but hopefully they will chill out. I've got squirt bottles ready. So thanks. Yes, indeed. Happy to keep you up to date. Absolutely happy to. Cheers. Yes. Hello. Yes. Cheers was so fun. It was one of my favorite shows, on the reruns. I'd always catch like all the reruns in the middle of the night, and it was just one of the great shows. I loved them. So very fun. Oh, there it goes. Yes, the kitties in the popcorn. Yes, fortunately they made it through the popcorn situation. Ally McBeal, of course, classic. We love that. Yes. Oh, reruns of Wings. Oh my gosh, of course. I mean, there's just something to be said about just, letting go of everything for a while. Norm, I know. Oh my gosh, I know. I put Cheers on Hulu. Yes. Oh, I know. Pluto as well. Good to know. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the classic, like good old fashioned. There was one particular scene that stuck with me my entire life. It was when Christy Alley was trying to quit her habit that she had. I can't even say the word, I think, but so he had come into the room and she had a contraband. So she had just hid it in her own mouth. And he left. And then when he left, she took it back out again. And I was like, she put a lit piece of contraband in her mouth. Oh, my whole life, I've always been like, that was crazy. My mom was like, yeah, that's not good. Don't do that. Mork and Mindy. Oh my gosh. Yes. Taking it back. Taking it back. Of course. Of course. So good times, good times. She was awesome. She was, I thought she did an amazing job. Not that I didn't like Diane because of course, but still. Well, I probably can, Mimi, but I'm trying not to. I feel like I've kind of dinged several dings here. Oh my gosh. Oh, Robin Williams, absolutely. Hello, hello, Heather. Good to see you. Yeah, John, you're gonna get in my head now. No, I tell you what, I have like I don't know what people call it. I guess a caftan. I guess that's what you call it. But it's just for lounging around, I mean, if no one's coming to the door. And anytime I wear it, my significant other just starts singing that song. It doesn't matter. He could be across the house and he'll just start singing Three's Company. And I'm like, it's a caftan, all right? It's classy. They wear these in Paris. Like, come on. Oh my gosh. But yes, so, that's all right. I don't allow him to wear baseball hats, so I guess we're even. Oh my goodness. Yes, we have to have lots of fun. But welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Good to see you all. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. They wear these in Paris. Maybe not my exact one, but I don't know. That's what I always tell myself. They wear this in Paris. So welcome in, everyone. Tonight I thought I would do a recap of going over what's been going on in the trial. There have been a lot of other things going on, so I haven't had time to really do a full live on this. So yes, I know. So I do plan to do just kind of an overview tonight. I will get back into reading the transcripts again. I have been able to print them out, so I do have a big stack I'll need to catch up on. So I'll make sure and do announcements for that. So I will be reading transcripts again, everyone. But tonight I thought, well, let's just kind of catch up and see what's been going on here. So yes, oh, absolutely, John, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started, everyone. Welcome. I had wanted to come on just a few minutes early to make sure that the notifications came out. So yes, moderators are working very, very hard. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. All right, well, welcome in. I've got here, I thought, a stack of our courtroom sketches that we can go through tonight to just kind of take us through the trial up to this point. We had day 10 today, and so I thought we would just walk you through what has been going on, but I have to give credit, of course, where credit's due. We have 3 of the courtroom sketchers or artists here pictured, and we have Jane Rosenberg, Elizabeth Williams, and Christine Cornell. So these are 3 of our courtroom artists, and I think a few of them, if not all 3 of them, have actually been on the news, have had interviews done. They have websites where you can go and check out their artwork and various things. So they are very talented ladies here. So. Who hires the artist? Great question. I think they just do it themselves. I think they're like freelancers is the term I would use. They're free agents. I'm not sure if they have contracts with different news companies or whatever, but they just go in. And I saw an interview, I think was it for this one? I think it was this one. And she said, just make sure you bring a pillow so you can sit up a little bit higher than everybody else so you can get a good view of everyone. That was cracking me up. Hello, Daisy. Yes, we're working hard. We're working hard with the trolls. They are out in full force, but that's all right. That's all right. Sure, they offer their services. Yes, indeed, Kristen. Yes, indeed. So these are some of the ladies here for these sketches tonight that we'll go through. And hopefully I haven't put them on each one, but I like to do it right at the beginning. Was Trump lawyers agreeing with Trump's comment today that he wasn't allowed to testify in ethics issue? Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard that, so we'll have to see. Red-haired woman needs Well, I don't know. I love a good, I have to say it, everyone, and I think I'm biased, but I just love a good spiral curl, you know? I just love it. So, I have to say, like, her hair's lovely, lovely hair over here too. Look at that color, it's gorgeous. But those spiral curls, I just love it. So, well, here we go. Let's go ahead and get started. Couldn't testify because of the gag order. Oh my gosh, that's interesting. Very interesting. Well, welcome in. So, day one, everyone, let's get started here. I will walk you through how all of our days have gone here. So, I've numbered each of these different photographs. I'm pretty close. Your curls are, oh, Kristen. Oh, thanks. Well, you know, it depends on the day. It was humid today, so I think my hair was trying to come for me. All of their interviews have been fantastic. Okay, excellent. I have not really caught any. I've got several bookmarked, but I've not seen any yet. So here is Judge Mershon, everyone. He is our presiding judge for New York versus Trump. This is the case where we've got interference with the 2016 election by suppressing negative news stories about Mr. Trump. News, we'll use that term loosely. Stories about Mr. Trump, and one in particular has documentation, which is the Stormy Daniels situation, which is where that hush money term has come from. And we've got 34 separate documents that have been written on with false information. So that's where we come up with the name, the hush money case, which a lot of people call it, but it's really an election interference name case that we have charged here. So we've got felony counts set out, one felony count, Class C felonies per writing. So that's how this case has been set out. So let's do an overview. This picture, I can't remember which day this was, so I just put this one on top. But I have tried to make a chart of each of these so that we know which day each one is. The only way I can really figure out which day is which, because of the news sources, whenever we get these kinds of pictures, these sketches, they just kind of, pass them on and on and on. So the only way I can tell is based off of his tie. So that's how I try to figure out which day it is. So this would be day one, and we have the district attorney here in the back, Mr. Bragg, or DA Bragg. Then we have two of Mr. Trump's attorneys sitting with him. So this is day one. Again, two of his attorneys again. Here you can see sitting next to him on day one as well. So the ketchup stain, exactly right. So here's a better view. This is Mr. Blanche here. I'm never going to say her name correctly. I think I have a mental block. I'm not sure why, but his second attorney, and then the third, and then we've got prosecutors over here, and then Judge Mershon sitting up here. So the first 3 days we were working on picking a jury. So we went through the voir dire process, and we had jury questionnaires that we had them all fill out and then ask them various questions. So let me show you a few of those. But again, it took several days for us to get our jury. It seemed pretty quick to most people, but the process was really streamlined by the judge. Here's another one. This is one of my favorite ones. Oh, the artwork's amazing. Oh, I know. So this is day two, and you can tell it's day two because he is wearing a blue and white striped tie. So it's day two. I don't know, is he looking tired here? We're starting to fall asleep a little bit, I think. Oh, yes, we are falling asleep on day two. So here we go. Mr. Trump does seem to have a bit of an issue staying awake. I've heard several theories. One is that he doesn't have any caffeine. He doesn't have any Diet Coke. He's only allowed water. So that could be part of it. I don't know what exactly it is, but I had started out the first couple of days thinking, well, maybe he's just faking it. But I think at this point, everyone, I think Mr. Trump is falling asleep. I think that Herbert snoozer. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. He's resting his eyes. Yeah, he's taking it all in. Well, I'm sure there's some of that, but it seems like the sheer quantity of it lends itself to more of the napping theory rather than the strategic thinking. Why only water? I think it's because of probably security reasons. And a lot of courthouses are like that, where they won't allow any other liquids or food into their courtroom. It could also have to do with, for my courtroom, we do it to keep away any kind of, problems with bugs or various other things, because we have a lot of books and things in our room. So we don't want any kind of critters to come in. So that could be part of it, but I'm not 100% sure. In New York, I'm sure they've got some things they need to take care of there. So here we go again. So days 1 through 3, we were working on pulling in our jurors. Here's another one of my personal favorites, everyone. We're at the very, very beginning. Inspecting the insides of his eyelids. Oh, I love that. I love that. So here's more. We were able to seat 12 by that third day and 1 alternate. And we did have one juror that we had some questions and did ask to be removed. And so she was. So here's some of the sketches of the jurors here. Now, of course, we keep all of their information quite private to make sure that they're anonymous. But I like the sketch because you can see Mr. Trump is the only one like gazing back here at all of the potential jurors. He's like, he doesn't look very happy here. So he's anti-woke. He's anti-woke. That's so funny. So yes, we went on. We had 12 jurors chosen then by the third day, and then the alternates chosen in the morning of the fourth day. So we were able to get that going. So that was exciting. So 4 days in order to pick our jurors. And again, I think that's because Judge Mershon really streamlined it. He also dealt with the Trump Corporation case. He also dealt with the Trump Corporation case last year. So he was kind of used to this as well, this whole procedure. So then this is day 4, and I've used this in a prior live as well, kind of explaining this process. And I can tell it's day 4 because he has a magenta tie on. So here he is again, and they're picking the juries. So then that takes us to day 5. Day 5 was very busy, everyone. Day 5, we had the Sandoval hearing, which was where the state said, this is the information that are going to use against you, Mr. Trump, if you choose to testify. Judge Mershon ruled on that. So that was the first part of it. The second part, then, of course, we had opening statements by both sides. And then after the state went and defense went, then they did call their first witness in. So after opening statements were on day 5. And again, we're on day 10 right now, although it seems like it's been months. Is it me? Does it seem like it's been months of a trial already, everyone? It's been years. Oh my goodness. All right, so here we go. We have, here's another lovely picture. He seems very happy to be here, very happy to be hanging out in the courtroom. Oh my gosh. So we've got days 4 and 5. Again, this is Mr. Blanche here talking with Mr. Trump. So I will kind of get us into the witnesses so we can start talking about some of their testimony, but I think we just kind of have to do this overview of walking through what has happened so far. All right, so then that takes us, after opening statements in the Sandoval hearing, then the state called their first witness, Mr. Pecker. So Mr. David Pecker, who, was the owner of the National Enquirer, all right? So Mr. Pecker was the first witness, and he kind of set the roadmap, put the roadmap out for the jury. It's been 84 years, at least. It feels that way. It seems that way. It's really, oh my goodness. Thanks for the gifts, everybody. I'm going to need to refill that color printer. I tell you what, my printers have just been smoking. Oh my goodness. All right, so Mr. Pecker came on. He actually was on for a couple of days. So he set up the entire catch and kill scheme. He set up his long relationship with Mr. Trump, and how he basically, they had this meeting with Mr. Cohen saying, how can I help? And he said, I can be your eyes and ears. And so this meant then he was going to make sure to publish a lot of positive stories about Mr. Trump and then get rid of the negative stories. And the catch and kill scheme was basically, if he heard about positive stories about Mr. Trump and then get rid of the negative stories. And the catch and kill scheme was basically, if he heard about some negative press or some negative things coming out, particularly according to his testimony, which I have read some of, particularly regarding women, if there were any negative stories, then he would pay those people, or he would have someone find a way to pay those people and buy the stories from them so that nobody could print them. And then there would be a non-disclosure involved. So, right, Mads, I'm counting. I think I get 3. I think I get 3 K words. That's what I'm guessing. So I think I'm at 2. So I think I've got one more. I'm reserving it. But thank you for the reminder. I appreciate it very, very much. So he had heard stories from the doorman in New York, Mr. Dino, and Dino had said that Mr. Trump had a child with another woman, and so he went and paid Mr. Dino 30 grand to sell his story to him, along with a non-disclosure statement. So they kind of, tossed that story. The second one, which we haven't seen her testify yet, was Miss McDougal, and she said they had a 10-month relationship. She was in love with Mr. Trump, blah, 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 and all of this stuff. So his second in command, which we'll hear from later on, went and talked with Miss McDougal, heard the story, thought that it was legitimate, and they made another agreement for payment on that. Catching unalive. Thank you, Taya. Oh my goodness. So those were the 2 agreements. And then the Stormy Daniels situation came up with Cohen, and he's like, dude, I don't want to pay another person for this situation. And so that's when things kind of got, uncomfortable. So that's a lot of his testimony, but really just outlining what his plan was that he had with Mr. Trump, how they had been friends, since the 80s, and that when Mr. Trump was getting ready to run for president, that this whole idea of running these stories and being careful was how he wanted to deal with it. One of the things that came out during Mr. Pecker's testimony, and I will just set this up here, and if you want to screenshot it, feel free. Along with the transcripts, the New York courts have made a list of all of the exhibits, all of the evidence available as well. So if you're interested in actually looking at these, I'm planning to pull most exhibits and show them when we do another recap, but there are quite a bit. So here we have, and I've just highlighted these out. What I've done are any of the headlines from the National Enquirer I put in orange, and then any of the emails that were sent between parties are here, and then any other documents are in green. So these are the people's exhibits that they set out to use with Mr. Pecker, and they had to do with actual stories run against Mr. Trump's enemies, and the invitation to the campaign announcement to Mr. Pecker was in there. The doorman's agreement and his non-disclosure agreement was included here, along with some emails giving some description of that agreement with that doorman. So these are the evidentiary pieces, the exhibits set out for the states. So thank you so much, Kristen. Appreciate that. So this is the first page, again, set out on the 23rd. So if you're interested yourself, you can pull any of these up. So that was part of Mr. Pecker's testimony. Here, he was on for quite a while. Now, Mr. Pecker continued on, and there was cross-examination, although it was pretty limited. So cross wasn't overwhelming. It just, defense came up, did a little bit to kind of clarify a few things, and then they were done. So Mr. Pecker testified, I think, for a total of 10 hours. Clearly, he was the number one witness so far in this case, by far. And he has he really has the knowledge of all of it as far as timing goes as well. So Mr. Pecker's testimony, we had day 5 he started just for about an hour or less than that. Day 6 he testified, he had direct examination. Day 7 he had direct examination and cross-examination. And then at the beginning of day 8, they continued cross-examination, but then called 2 more witnesses. So once Mr. Pecker was off of the strong witness, in my opinion, yes, he was. Now, there's a couple of things to note about Mr. Pecker's that I think are really important before I move too quickly. there is a non-prosecution agreement signed between the government and AMI. So his company, and then also from the District Attorney of New York, a cooperation letter. So these are two separate pieces of evidence, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Open and honest, and said, "Hey, did we reach an agreement that you would cooperate with us?" And we said we wouldn't prosecute you. Yes, we did. What about the feds? Yes, we reached an agreement. So there were agreements made, and so for Mr. Pecker, it was really in his best interest to just be open and honest. And he had this agreement. He was going to be immune from prosecution as long as he shared the information that he had, and that's what he did. So I thought that went over really well. But let's talk about then this second sheet before I move past Mr. Pecker. We do have the McDougal license agreement and amendment here that was included as well. So those things were also part of the state's exhibit list. Again, these are the exhibits set out for the state. All of this evidence, again, is available online if you'd like to look at it. So again, another set of exhibits here. So then that was Mr. Pecker, and he closed out his cross-examination closed out the morning, and then they had the next witness called, which was Miss Rona Graff, and she was Mr. Trump's, I'm not sure if she's still his secretary or not, actually, come to think of it. I'll have to look that up, but I'm not sure. She did testify, and there were general questions about Miss Stormy Daniels, and did she see her? Did she know anything about her? What she knew about the different situations, how Mr. Trump, how he was as a businessman. The defense asked her, tried to, I guess some people would say, tried to humanize Mr. Trump a little bit and said, well, you worked for him for a really, really long time, right? He must have been great to work for. And she's retired. Okay, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. So, and she did have lots of that kind of testimony. So she's like, well, I worked there a really long time, so he must have been okay. But, that was really it. We had just these kinds of questions of who she knew, if she knew of the cast of characters that will be coming in to testify later. So that's really what she testified to. She didn't testify for very long, but she, again, just kind of set the stage to make sure that the other witnesses are set into place for when they come in to testify, as well as, the general practices of Mr. Trump's business, because it was a very small business as well. So she was the second witness, and she, I think, was just a foundational witness to set other people up. Now, then we have the third witness on day 8, and the third witness was Mr. Farrow. Now, I don't have a regular picture of Mr. Farrow because this is Mr. Cohen's banker here, and he was on for a cross-examination, for a direct, but didn't get all the way through cross. So he was day 8 and 9, and he just basically went through. He set up the business practices of the bank and how those different things were done. So he was kind of setting up, again, authenticity issues as well. So his name, again, is Mr. Farrow, and, not very exciting testimony, but another foundational piece to kind of justify what was going on with that. So is my understanding of this guy. Now, the other question, though, I think I'm missing one. I may be missing one, everyone. Hold on here. Hold on. Yeah, I have him listed as the banker. No video in federal court. So I think I may be missing one witness, but that's all right. We'll jet forward a little bit more. I think I'm missing the C-SPAN person. The C-SPAN. Did anybody see that? We had one more witness in there to kind of give validation to the different videos that were being used. But for some reason, I have not included him. I don't know why. But we had one more witness in there that I am missing. Yeah, the C-SPAN guy. C-SPAN. Yeah, archives manager. Thank you, Taylorina. Yes. C-SPAN archives manager. So I think that's important to note because in here, what we've got, again, I've got different text between different people, but there are some different videos that have been included, and there are some different clips and so on. And what happened was Mr. Trump did not stipulate to any of the pieces of evidence. Douglas Doss, wait, was that today? I thought he was the, hold on, I have him down as the digital evidence. Wait, he was today then, is that right? I thought there was a C-SPAN guy in between. Uh-oh, everyone, hold on. Okay, so, right, I thought there were two. He was today, right, today was Doss. He's the forensics guy, okay. Well, we'll pause on that for a minute. Yeah, Doss was today, and I have Doss. So this is Doss here. This is Mr. Doss. So I thought I'm missing one more person. Right, C-SPAN. So Mr. Doss was C-SPAN. Okay, no, yeah, that's what I thought. All right, everybody, hold on. We're gonna put a pin in the C-SPAN dude. All right, C-SPAN dude. Robert, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Okay, I thought I was missing one fella. Okay, so what happened, basically, they called someone in order to authenticate certain piece of evidence because there were certain things Mr. Trump was like, forget it, I'm not going to agree to that. I'm not going to stipulate that this is actually what you are saying it is. And a lot of times in trial, if we've got something like a letter or something like that, we may contest it. It may be a big contested situation. But if it's something everybody knows, like his own tweets from his own account that he wrote himself, and he's refusing to stipulate to that. And I kind of went through this, I don't know if anyone remembers, a few weeks ago, we went through the list of everything that the state stipulated to that the defense had, and then everything that the defense stipulated to that the state had. And we noticed only about a third of the things the state had that Mr. Trump actually stipulated to. So 2/3 of the rest of the stuff was not stipulated to, which just means the state has to bring in a foundational person in order to get that evidence in. So that's kind of the long and short of it. It's not very exciting, but one of those kind of procedural questions. So that fella, what's important to note is that the state is slowly building what they need in order to get all of their evidence in. So again, here's another sheet of evidence. Here we have the license agreement. We have emails between Howard and Cohen. We'll get into that a little bit more here in a minute. From Howard to Hicks regarding the Radar online story. We have texts from Davidson and Howard. So, and then we've got articles regarding McDougal and Daniels and those kinds of things. So this is the second page of evidence that was set out. And then we have the third page of evidence here also, and which is almost all of these emails. So you can see how the state is slowly building their case up here. We have, let's see, emails from Cohen to Casson, Farrow's involved here, Graff's involved here, so even the secretary is involved in some of these emails. So I think a really good way of kind of tracking and seeing how the state's case is going is by seeing what their evidence is. Now, all of this evidence, again, is available online, everyone. Okay, Executive Director, thank you so much, GE2GE or G2G. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So that was the next page of evidence. And then we've got the 30th. So this is the last page of evidence here. We'll just hit this real quick before we move on to our other witnesses. So we have more emails included here. We have more text. So again, anything in green up here are text messages. We have settlement agreements with Daniels. We have emails between Davidson to Cohen and back and forth. Now, something else that the state has here that I think is really worth noting here, and this is what I was talking about with the C-SPAN person, is I believe he did some authentication regarding the deposition clips. Oh, thank you so much. These clips. So this is from the E. Jean Carroll case. So E. Jean Carroll, as we all know, we had our defamation case before, and they had deposition video clips, Also, her transcripts from those depositions, the excerpts, and then video clips as well from different rallies here. So we've got Greensboro, Gettysburg, and Trump Tower press conference. So these different clips are also part of the state's case as exhibits as well. So that's where I think the C-SPAN fella came in, was just to say, yes, this is the clip, this is what it means. So just to kind of bring it back to that last person. But we've got multiple pieces here, multiple video clips, and anytime, now this is just what I've heard, everyone, anytime Mr. Trump heard his own voice, he was awake. But for any of the other evidence, it was anyone's guess. Oh, thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate that. But when it came to his own stuff, he definitely was watching, which I don't blame him. I would watch too if it was my own self on, being heard during it. So again, this is more of the state's evidence that was set out. So then we've got, so Mr. Farrow was day 9, and then that brings us to day 10. So day 10 in the morning then, everyone, and day 10 was today, of course. We had Davidson, I think. Yeah, Davidson's coming in. So we did have that contempt hearing this morning, everyone. We do not, as of the time I started to come on live tonight, I did not see an order yet. So let's just talk about that for a minute. We had our contempt hearing this morning, and we had, I think it was 4 charges, right? I think we had, was it 3 or 4? I get it mixed up. We had 7, and then we had 3, and then I think we had 4. So I think we had 4 today. So the state had brought contempt proceedings again in order to talk about multiple violations again of the gag order. Now, Judge Merchan had issued that original contempt order finding Mr. Trump in violation of the order. So criminal contempt, $1,000 for 9 of the charges, and then very strongly worded order stating, look, I don't think money's going to help you do the right thing here. So we may, yes, 4, that's what I thought, 4 for today. So we may need to kick this up a notch and talk about incarceration. Now, there was some question on whether or not he was going to add that incarceration to this particular contempt hearing or to any future contempt hearings, because this had already been set by the time that order had come out. So we were not sure about that. So they did go through that this morning. I'm hoping to get those transcripts so that I can read them. I will be doing a full live just reading through the contempt hearing because I think that's so important. I will do a post on when I will come back and read those transcripts. But we will do that again, and I do not have an order. But that's how this day started. They're not, right. Great point, Michelle. Another thing, too, was that the DA said, hey, look, we're not asking for jail because we want to keep this going. We've got momentum here. We want to just keep the trial going forward. And if we were to ask for jail time or to have him put into jail, that's going to just slow everything down. We just want to keep going forward. So I think they've got a good point. Again, it'll be ultimately up to the judge. So the state can ask for whatever they want, but it is up to the judge. He will make the final decision. So if he thinks that there's nothing else he can do except for jail, then he'll do that. So, oh, thank you. Yes, I've got my fun nails on for tonight. So put him in over the weekend. Perhaps. We'll see. We have no written order yet, so we'll have to wait. The most recent order that just came out only took a couple of days, so I think this one will take just a couple of days again. So I did a post this morning too. Several people have been asking what happens with the Secret Service if Mr. Trump goes to jail, and the answer is, well, their job is to just make sure he is protected. So, whatever they need to do that is what they will do. So I don't think that will be too big of a problem. He could defer it to after trial too. It's possible. The judge has a lot of discretion, when it comes to the timing with contempt things, because it really is his courtroom that's being disturbed. It's his order that's not being followed. So he has a lot of discretion on the timing on that as well. So I think we will see what happens in the future, but we don't know. So we started with a contempt hearing, and then we went into Mr. Keith Davidson, who is the Beverly Hills attorney He also wrote the NDAs. He's the attorney for Stormy Daniels and McDougal. So, yikes, everybody. This testimony today, we had quite a bit of direct where they're setting up how this whole thing works, because he was really part of the process too. And I think the first night when I kind of just went through the different witnesses, like he came out as kind of a sleazy fella. So I'm not sure if the state revived him enough for his testimony to be valuable enough to get what they needed out of him or not. But cross-examination just went after him, and rightfully so. So he had direct and he had cross. Direct was fine. Was it important or useful? I don't know yet. But cross was pretty brutal. There were questions like, from what I had seen reported, questions like, do you remember having a 30-day suspension on your law license? And he was like, nope, I don't remember. I don't remember. Like, I think you would remember, sir. and then there were other like famous actors involved and famous other people involved. And he kept saying like, I don't remember, which of course is what you do, which is what every good attorney does. But, it doesn't look particularly good to a jury, but what's the goal? So he's like, he continued to assert many times that he had privilege, so attorney-client privilege for other people, which is a legitimate privilege as well. I think like Schwarzenegger was brought in. I think his name was brought up. Is that right? I don't know. I get all the Hollywood types all blended together. I apologize, but there were some like famous people, and he's like, I can't talk about that because I'm representing them. So Hulk Hogan. Okay, maybe. Did I get Hulk Hogan and Arnold Schwarzenegger mixed up? Wow. I should. That's terrible. That's terrible, everybody. Oh, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of myself. I got to take a tea break and think about my life choices with that one. Oh, my goodness. I don't think the jury necessarily cares if you don't remember, but if you say you don't remember over and over and over again, I think that they will definitely draw kind of an inference, although they're not supposed to. So, yeah, sorry about that, everybody. I don't know, like buffed up people who I can't understand. I don't know, everybody. Charlie Sheen, Lindsay Lohan, and Hulk Hogan. Okay, are you sure that Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't involved? Are you sure? Are you sure? I mean, I really feel like he was involved, but all right. Well, either way, they were trying to basically, defense counsel was kind of trying to show that he's a jerk to the jury. And, he is. Like, even before he testified or anything about that, when we were just reviewing, like, what he did to Miss McDougal, like, he's like a total jerk. Sleazy jerk. So I think they were trying to show that to the jury, and I'm like, job well done. I think that was done. Arnold was part? What? Was he part of it? Ron, no, that can't be. Really? No, I don't know. I'm going to have to do some research. I don't want to wade into the land of defamation. I'll have to research that. I don't know, but when you hear the word Schwarzenegger, it sticks with you. You know what I'm saying? So, well, right. He has a love child. Oh, right. I think that's right. Oh, thank you so much, Regal. Okay, I think that's what it was. There were examples of other kinds of similar stories. Okay. All right. Well, now that's all coming together, everybody. It's all coming together. Okay, phew. Wow, I was sweating. I was really sweating. I thought, did I really mix up Arnold and Hulk Hogan? I mean, how dare I? I was so ashamed. Okay, phew. All right, so good for me. Good for me. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right. It was with him and the nanny. Oh, I know. Yeah, there's a lot going on. So the bottom line is his testimony, I'm not sure how much it helped the state or not. I am very interested to see the transcripts. So I will be absolutely, once these transcripts are fully out, I will be reading through that. So of course the transcripts come out 24 hours after the day. So the transcripts for this will be out tomorrow. And hopefully I will be able to comb through those. So that will absolutely have to be alive. So again, tonight's recap will kind of kick off several lives where I will just be reading through transcripts kind of at this point because we have a lot of material to go through. So So this fella, I don't know. I don't know how helpful he was. We'll take a look at the transcripts. We'll read through it and try to figure it out. But he got quite the press today. A lot of people were very interested in what he had to say, and he was kind of like Mr. A little bit sleazy. So a little bit sleazy from what I've heard in how he was portrayed. And he kept saying, well, that's how this business is, the business of the National Enquirer. And I kept thinking like, well, he's got a point. He's got a point, right? I mean, that who believes that Elvis and an alien had a love child together, right? But somehow this happened. Like, they make it sound so real. Even I at one point remember reading a headline and being like, no, that's not possible, and thinking, oh, maybe it is. No. Oh my goodness. So yeah, so he was explaining how the process worked of those kinds of things, also the non-disclosure agreements as well. So his testimony, I think, is important, but I'm not sure exactly until I read through the transcript. I'm not going to know. So he was on for today. There was quite a bit notion that, yes, that it's a thing. Yes, exactly, Joe. Thank you. Just to kind of put into perspective of like how these things work and what actually happens. So then there's more. Again, this is specific to Mr. Trump today. Now you can tell it's day 10 because he's wearing a gold colored tie. So we have to throw this in. I'm not sure. What do we think of this sketch? Today's sketch of Mr. Trump. What are we thinking? What are we thinking? How are we liking it? I think Mershon's looking a little bit tired. I think Judge Mershon looks tired, in my opinion. He's looking like he needs some rest. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like the eyebrows are just completely like right on, like on point right here. Do people say on point anymore? I don't know. But the eyebrows look incredibly accurate. So I don't know. Oh my gosh. I think we're all aging. I think there's something else going on with Mr. Trump. Like, I'm getting older every day, but this is something else. Things that keep you up at night. I know. I don't want to, I don't want to go too Wizard of Oz, but it feels more like, maybe something else is going on here. Yeah, the jawline, exactly, majestic. All right. Petty of me. Let's move on. So here's another one. Again, this is of today. And look at Todd Blanchett. Look at his expression. He's like, they look really mad. There have been a lot of questions here over whether or not Mr. Trump is frustrated with Mr. Blanche because he feels like Mr. Blanche isn't going hard enough. But of course, Mr. Blanche has to do what he needs to do, but he's an attorney first. And yes, he's got a client, but he still has to do his job as an attorney before anything else. You can't just go and say whatever you want, unlike what Mr. Trump would prefer, I'm sure. But, I think they may be having some disagreements. So that I thought was very interesting. So that's a good question. So I can't tell. This looks like the front. That was the other question I had for everybody. So, all right, chat, help me out. This looks like Judge Mershon's bench. So is this like a poster? I mean, what's going on here? What is that? What is that? Can the witness be called back? Yes, they can be called back. Yes, they can be called back in for rebuttal, for clarification later, if ever needed, so long as you make sure to say that. I reserve the right to call this witness on rebuttal. Is this is Hulk Hogan? No. Is it? Iron Man? It's weird. I know. I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. All right. I don't know. Is it a monitor or is this the bench? I kept thinking, like, are they advertising like a musical that's like down the road? Like, what's going on in New York? It looks like Trump is a wrestler. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. AI generated image of Trump. Oh my goodness gracious. These look like wings, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, this is just really fascinated. I'm absolutely fascinated to think that they're like advertising different musicals pinned onto the judge's bench. That was just so funny. I mean, obviously it's not, but this is obviously something else. but still, it's just funny to think about. Has to be Hulk. It was mentioned. It's true. It's possible. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, do we need a visual of Hulk Hogan to know who Hulk is? I don't know. I'm the last person to ask that question. I should ask that. Broadway is a very big deal for the New Yorkers. I agree. That's what I was thinking. I was like, is something going on with Broadway? Like, Judge Rashawn's like, I just want you to know I sponsored costumes. So if you want to go, great. You don't have to, you know. Just Lady Justice in a cape? Could be, could be. I really have no idea. Hulk didn't have a cape, or Hulk didn't. Okay, Hulk Hogan. He didn't. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So anyway, that's that. But I think this really illustrates there may be some animosity here between these guys. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I think there may be some don't know. Oh my goodness. All right. So this was today. This was another wonderful sketch from today. And then we have just a couple more here. So if you look here, there's no, I mean, the flying bat person's gone, right? So it must have been in the monitor somehow. I don't know. I thought this was a pretty good, depiction of Mr. Trump here from the side. I mean, he's wearing like a, like two colored, suit, but I thought this was a good one. If I was Mr. Trump, I'd be okay with this one, I think. Oh my gosh, how long it takes to do the sketches. Oh, I know. And one of the artists was saying too, because it's chalk, right? Or it's pastels, it's not chalk. Oh, listen to me. I need to just stick to the law and not art. But because of the medium that they're using, it's very dusty too. So they get very, they get all coated up with their dustings here. Hands are too big. Well, it looks like he's got extra. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I've had too much coffee today, everybody. I don't know. There's something odd going on there. Something a little different. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but he even got the heel. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, webbed. Thank you. I think webbed is accurate. I think that sounds good. Like, there's just one arm, right? His other arm's over here. I don't know. And then what's this too? I don't know either. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, he looks mad, but then I wonder too if he's asleep. Like, is he asleep? Because a lot of the reporting was saying he was asleep a lot of the time. So there was a lot of, we don't have those here. We don't have that where I'm at. Oh my gosh, in the middle of shape-shifting. Oh, no. Oh my gosh. Well, you just never know. He needs longer pants. I don't know. This is a good question. Is this too high, everybody? I don't know. I mean, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what all of the New York trends are with, former presidents on trial. Is this too much sock here? I don't know. Caught the heels. Yes. Well, that's the thing. I wonder shows his go boots. That's normal. Okay. It was tucked in. Well, what's going on? Aquamamba from New York. The pilgrim shoes. Well, right, exactly. Look, we got the heel here. We got the arch. I mean, come on, right? Oh my goodness. It's a shoe boot. Thin ankles. Yeah, I don't, it looks like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't judge. I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so I don't know what all the ex-presidents are doing these days. Where's his other leg? I think that's a great question. A valid question. Because I can't tell. I mean, it's kind of, now, again, don't get me wrong. This is a million times better than anything I could even think of in my mind to do. So don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'm not quite sure either what's going on. I mean, is he just holding his leg up or is there another leg? I can't tell. Pilgrim boots. Well, I mean, we are a bit Puritan these days. I don't know. Maybe for a while, I don't know. Oh my gosh. Two toes pants. Yeah. Okay, so his pant leg stuck in his sock. Well, maybe his sock was, was too restrictive. Maybe he felt too confined, Yeah, him and DeSantis, his are just the black version. That's funny. Could be static. Absolutely, absolutely. I have no idea. Yeah, I think so. I mean, look at the shading. That's phenomenal. Like that's amazing. All right. I joke only because I'm sad I'm not this talented. That's why. So compression socks. Ooh, that's smart actually. Compression socks are an excellent choice for trial. I would have to agree with that. Yes, right. So I know. Oh my gosh. All right. The previous pictures when Michael Collins meme. Right. Super fit. What? No, really? Oh my gosh. There was some talk about that. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's back up the truck, everybody. Back it up. So there was I saw some reporting on some of the things that Michael Cohen said about Mr. Trump were being put in because it was like, what was it? Poopy Von Poopy Pants? What was his name? Or Mr. Have to go to the bathroom pants. I can't remember. Von Pantalones. I don't know. But there's some name that I'm sorry, that Cohen calls him. And that name is now in the record. And it was just cracking people up. Right. Oh, Kimber. Oh, the language. Oh my goodness. Well, okay. I can't say that. That doesn't seem right. That language is outside of my my comfort zone. That's outside of my boundaries here, my square boundaries. So, okay. So Cohen's comments were put in. So it could very well be that this is the, the person who, the self is part of the court record, right? Oh my goodness gracious. All right. I'm going to have to pull the transcripts. I'm going to be looking through that. So I think you're right. I think this is who posted it? Who posted it? I saw your post and I've just missed it. I was trying so hard to remember that name that he was getting called. I have to repent. Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, like Captain, I'm the victim of everything hood, something like that. That makes sense. Okay. So this could have been during his Cohen's making me feel really bad about myself. What about him not testifying because he has a gag order? Yeah, that's not a thing. I mean, that's just not a thing. Super victim. Okay. Let's just write that down before I forget, okay? I don't know if that's correct or not, but I like it. So let's just name this person that. Super victim from now on. Oh my goodness gracious. You can't tell, but tears running down my face right now. I need to. Oh my gosh. All right. We laugh, everyone, because not everything has to be so serious that makes us cry all the time. All right. I'll be crying later, as I do every night. Super victim. Right. Okay. So, oh my gosh. Super victim meme. Okay. So it's a full meme. Oh my gosh. I know what else I'm going to be doing tonight. I'll be looking at. Okay, Vaughn. Okay, with the Vaughn name, I don't think I can see that. Oh, all right. Yeah, it explains why he's so angry. Ooh, good point. Looks like he's so angry. Meanwhile, the judge is like, are we done yet? Are we done? Oh my goodness gracious. All right, so these two are, I don't know who set this up for me and pinned it, but I thank you. I thank you so much. All right. So he was not pleased with Mr. Cohen here. So there we go. Right. Doesn't block him from testifying. Science labs, remind me. Let me finish up here and then I'll come back and we'll do a full QA. So just don't let me forget, okay? Because I will. So I'll forget. All right. So here we go. More testimony here from Mr. Davidson. Again, we'll have to read through that transcript. And in order to get the full report off of that. So here we go. Here's another view so we can kind of see his pilgrim boot here a little bit better. And then, maybe it's two hands then. Jawline still, stoic. All right. And then we had our last witness today, which was Mr. Doss. Now, Mr. Doss is the digital evidence department, the analyst. Sorry, everyone. The digital analyst. So he was the one coming in and explaining how the process works. So again, this is another foundational witness to kind of set us up to be able to explain further exhibits when they come in later. So if we've got a piece of digital evidence that can come in later, all you need is the person then on the stand testifying, and then this will be the foundational piece. So refer back to his testimony to see how this is set up in order for that evidence to come back in. All right, so can you explain the sign? Yeah, so I think here we're just talking, we've got different things that we're talking about. It looks like he might be talking about WhatsApp and what her account is and her name. I mean, again, he's talking about how different digital pieces work. Until I can see what the actual full content is of his testimony, I don't know exactly what it is, but yes, but I'm imagining he's got some piece of evidence in front of him. So let me see if I can guess. Yeah, I don't have the evidence list in front of me for today, but let's see if I can guess what that would be, because we do have, let's see, email from Hutchins to Cohen, email from Howard. Oh, here we go. We have email from Howard to Hicks regarding Radar Online story. So we do have Hicks included as one of the state's exhibits. So it could have something to do with this, is what I'm assuming. Is my battery okay? Oh, great question. Yes, it is, and thanks for asking. Yes, so it's got to have something to do with that, is what I'm assuming. So, all right, with that, everybody, all right. So let's dive in and let's do a little Q&A. So that's kind of our recap of our 10 days. We're 10 days in. It feels like at least 2 years, maybe 3 years. Here's one of my favorites. We'll focus on this one. So what do we have for our Q&As for tonight? So one of the questions that someone was asking was, could Mr. Trump not testify because of the gag order? So, all right, so let's, oops, hold on just a minute. Sorry, everybody. Yikes. Here we go. Did I get it? Oh, I got it. Okay, good. I had to do my puzzle piece. I had to verify I was still here. All right, so one of the things about the gag order, right? What's the gag order? The gag order says you cannot make intimidating comments about witnesses that are going to be testifying, or the DA's assistants or their families, or the judge's staff or families. All right, that's it. I mean, it's super limited. So Mr. Trump, I'm not sure how he wouldn't be able to testify if he wanted to. First of all, he's got a constitutional right to testify on his own behalf. But if he, wants to testify, then that's fine. So I don't see how that would negatively affect him not being able to testify. I guess the question would be, well, if he wants to get on the stand and just go off on Mr. Cohen, who's going to be a witness, he wouldn't be able to do that. But, I mean, I don't even know how that would work. Let's hash it out. Let's walk through it. So Mr. Cohen would be testifying for the state, right? If Mr. Trump testifies, he would have to testify for the defense. So Mr. Cohen would have already testified. So if Mr. Trump testifies, Cohen's already testified, so the testimony Mr. Trump gives would be about the testimony Cohen's already given. So I don't see how that would be a violation of the gag order. I just don't see how it would even violate the gag order. So first of all, he has that constitutional right to testify no matter what. And second of all, if it's already been said into court, that's what you're going to testify to rebut that information or to say that whatever he said in court was wrong, then, that's not an issue. Yeah, and it only covers extrajudicial statements as well. Yeah, exactly, Hitch. Excellent point, because it's stuff that was said outside of court. But if Cohen is testifying about his statements that he made outside of court, the extrajudicial statements, then and then Trump comes back in and testifies about what Cohen was saying about what he was saying outside of court, but he would still be in court talking about out of court statements. Yeah, so I don't think that it would apply anyway. Yeah, I agree. Hitch, I think your answer's the best is that if you're testifying in court, the gag order isn't really at play. The only time the gag order, if you're testifying in court, the gag order isn't really at play. The only time the gag order would be at play in court is if you're in court and you're posting it on social media while you're in court, not like while you're testifying. I think that would probably be a better way to describe it, if that makes sense, everybody. He's just making, well, yeah, of course he is. Of course he is. It would be so much easier to say, I can't testify because of some, jerk, than, I can't testify because if I do, it would be like a huge, stupid mistake. I mean, that would be, it works better if you can blame somebody else. It would, right, it is, I think it's an excellent sketch. It really would be. So, but no, there's no gag order that's going to keep you from testifying in court. That's just not how gag orders work. And this one is so limited anyway. So he's got to say, absolutely, Science Labs, he's got to say something to kind of save face. Let's go back to Mr. Davidson here, because this is like, I think, really descriptive of him. He's got to kind of save face, right? Because he's already been saying, oh, I'm going to testify. So what is he going to say that, in order to make it so that he can justify changing his story? Although I don't know if that's really necessary or not. One thing I noticed from Mr. Pecker, and it's probably because I have read his transcripts. Don't look directly into Mr. Trump's eyes here. That's a little scary, but one of the things Mr. Pecker talked about, remember, before Mr. Trump even was fully in his 2016 mode, was he talked about how he did a survey of all the readers for National Enquirer and how they would have voted for Trump and wanted Trump. And so you have to think in your mind then that it's the group of people, not just the casual, oh, that's interesting, Elvis and the alien, just for a fun afternoon, but for the people who are just absolute devout readers of the National Enquirer. Those are the people that's his base. I mean, that is who his base is. So he basically created a base of people for Mr. Trump to launch off of. And so that's really what we're dealing with. So I think that's really important to keep in mind when we're talking about, different things that they set up, because he knows who his readers are. He knows Mr. Trump's base probably better than Mr. Trump does. So he knew and knows what kind of stories they needed and what kind of things he needed, and probably continued to help Mr. Trump figure out what the best thing was to say, and how to kind of clean up messes that he made along the way, because his base are his readers. And that, again, is based off of his testimony. So that was the, well, right. I mean, again, and we can all think about that for a minute. And I'm not trying to say every single person that reads the National Enquirer is like his base. I'm not saying that, but I am saying, those that are so absolutely true believers in the National Enquirer, that's Mr. Trump's base. So, right. So that's the other thing too. If you try to convince somebody who believes that, that's going to be very difficult. Want to know all the stories he hid? Well, right, and he talked about quite a few of them. But he also got silenced a lot about things because it was objected to quite a bit. And, again, too, based off of the transcripts, Steve Bannon had a big role in a lot of what was written about Hillary, and we don't have the details of that. So that's very interesting as well. All right, so I kind of took that over, but what other questions do you have? Shooting himself in the foot when he goes live? I don't think so, Miss Mabel. Oh my gosh, I love that name. So I kind of have been, I've been kind of lurking, I guess, and kind of looking at the Mr. Cohen lives, and I don't see anything in there that he's saying that would be objectionable at all, actually. If he was my client, and I've been hanging out probably more than I really would enjoy hanging out, but just to assess that situation, I don't see anything that he's saying or doing that would have any kind of an effect on the trial based off of what I've seen over the last few lives that I have seen. So that's what I would say for that. Sue for libel, it's possible. If the statute of limitations hasn't run, yes, it's absolutely possible. It's possible to sue for defamation. What other witnesses are you thinking of? Thinking will be brought. So we still have several. We still have a stack of witnesses that have not been called yet. So let me think here. We still have, of course, here we go. Let me get my stack out. Here we go. 1 minute. All right. We still have, whoops, sorry about that. All right, so we still have Mr. Cohen, of course. We still have, we have Dino, the doorman, here as well. I'm not even sure he's necessary at this point, truly. We still have Dylan Howard. This is going to be a big one, right, everybody? This fella's not been pulled up. He's going to be a big witness. He's probably going to be our next big dude, big, mind-blowing, like, wow, he knew a lot of stuff that we didn't know. I think he's going to be the next big one here. We've got Hope Hicks, who could still be called. Again, she was the one that kind of handled a lot of stuff and was there when they talked about a lot of stuff. So she's not been pulled in, but she's been spoken of quite a bit. So yeah, again, these are just the guesses, the best guesses of who our witnesses are going to be here. We've got, of course, Stormy. We have Madeline Westerhout, former director of the Oval Office. So she's going to be talking about more of the documents themselves. And I think I've got here the checks and check stubs, and she's involved in 9 of those, we thought. So Karen McDougal, of course, is also involved. We've got Deborah Tarasoft, an accountant, was included. Ooh, Jeffrey McConney was another one. Howard's not supposed to testify. He's in Australia with a spinal injury. Ooh, that's too bad. Oh my goodness. All right, well, he's off the list. Yeah, no one needs to be transporting that across the ocean. My goodness. Okay. If you're a witness, you have to be there every day until you're called. Well, you have to be there within whatever your subpoena says. So let's explain how that works. So if you're a witness, even if you're a friendly witness, we're going to give you a subpoena. Everybody needs a subpoena because we don't want anyone to come to be getting any hassles like, oh my gosh, I didn't want to testify, but I had to testify because I have a subpoena. So we always want to have a subpoena. And then within the subpoena, it'll say what time you need to be there between such and such hour and such hour. So it is kind of like, waiting for the cable guy. Does anyone have cable anymore? I don't know. It is kind of like that in that we have a window. But then also a lot of times whoever is going to call you will come out and say, we're not going to need you today, or you're going to be up in an hour, or you're going to be up in 2 hours, or after lunch. So they kind of keep you up to date. They'll have someone keep you up to, and to say like, yeah, it's looking like you're going to go, or I'm not sure if you're going to go. We'll see how things go up to that. He's testifying virtually. Well, I would imagine so, because this fella, he's key. He's a key piece. He's like a foundational piece to this whole scheme. Like he's all about the McDougal situation. Like she told him her whole story. He's the one that made the call to like pay her. Like he's really important. So I'd be surprised if he wasn't involved at all in some way. So sister has cable over 10 minutes. Okay, well, some people with I'm not trying to judge. I'm just saying, I don't know if people still wait for the cable person to come by anymore. Why do you think 45's unindicted on the other trial that's going on? I think because they just don't want a big giant mess in Arizona like they have in DC and in Georgia. I think they just are like, we want a good clean fight. Let's, set it up and knock it down for the people in Arizona that were personally involved. Let's take them down, take care of it, get them pled out, found guilty, and then we can go after anybody else later. But like, why make it into a huge 3-ring circus when you can have just a 1-ring circus? I don't know. Is circus appropriate? Do we have circuses anymore? The text Blanche objected to is because Howard wasn't testifying. It was hearsay. So good question, Daisy. And it wasn't necessarily because of that. It was because he wasn't there in the moment. So it wasn't necessarily, it was like down the road, but here right now to testify to that with the hearsay question. But good memory, Daisy. Wow. Look at you remembering that detail from so long ago. Defendant ever beginning medications to keep them calm during a trial? Well, I mean, Annette, great question, first of all. And it would have to be like, I mean, not by force. I don't think, well, all right, let me go back. Hold on, let me take a drink of my tea here. Think about that. Hold on. All right, so I think there are some extreme situations where someone may need to have certain medication in order to not harm others. Very rare situation, extreme situation. But if it was someone who was just a regular, like having a panic attack, they would have their own medication. So like you can pretty much take your own medication if you need to, and you should usually get permission to do that before trial even starts. So like your attorneys would already talk to the judge and say, hey, my client has this condition and we'll need to take medication for it. What's the protocol? How do you want to do this? And then that all gets taken care of ahead of time. So the House of Congress, Tony, hilarious. But valid point, valid. Ouch, and it hurts. Can't take medication before I go to work, even if I'm having a panic attack. Well, right. So it's not the same. It's not the same in court because there's no real lives on the line when it comes to what's allowable and what's not allowable. I would say, like there are certain weapons that aren't permitted, but when it comes to medication, that should be okay. I mean, anything that's illegal, of course, is not allowable. But yeah, you can be on whatever medication you need to, and your client can, but it needs to be appropriate, prescribed, appropriate medication, not forcibly. Shocker to keep. No, probably not. I don't know that would even work though. Need to apologize for giving. Well, we've we've got plenty. I'm sure we've sent plenty to Australia as well. So expect the defense to call any witnesses. Great question. And yes, I think defense will call some witnesses in. I think they'll call some. Honestly, they'll probably call some character developing witnesses in. They will probably call some experts on non-disclosure agreements. People to kind of explain how these things work, probably some people to kind of outline how business like this works, or maybe how campaigns run, probably something along those lines. Melania, I'm not sure. I think the state may call Melania. I don't think defense will. Could. I mean, anything could happen, but I would be surprised. I would be very surprised if defense called Melania. Not taking his usual engine revving. That could very well be. And you have to be careful. Like if you have a really strong medicine that kind of makes it so you can't be completely focused, you don't want to take that when you're, going into trial. You just, that's just something you're not going to want to do. But, on the other hand, you got to kind of be able to be present. You have to physically be able to be present. And so if you can't, if your body's going to shut down if you don't have medication, it's like you got to kind of do what you got to do. Wife didn't have to testify against his husband. Great question. We've talked about that before. The immunity privilege, if you're married, it depends on how the rules work in New York. So it just depends. Did they do drug testing randomly with offenders of this type? They can, Cully. I don't know if they will in New York for this kind, but for 34 felonies, it's possible, but no priors, no history of usage, no reason to believe that there's any kind of distribution issue. So I'm not sure why they would, because it's not really part of the charge. If he was charged on some kind of like, contraband charge included, then that'd be much more likely to, do, I don't think they could do a hairstyle test. I don't think he's got enough hair to do a hairstyle. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'm a bad person. Hold on. I'm sorry. I apologize. That was out of line. But because it's not part of his charges, I don't think that they're going to need to, but it's still a possibility. It's always a possibility. fact, his signature was not on the document today. Does it hurt the prosecution? I don't think so. I don't think it does. We kind of talked about that before on how everybody had signed that contract except for Mr. Trump. But the reason he didn't sign it was because, he didn't want to sign anything and have a paper trail. But we had Mr. Cohen's signature, and we kind of talked about that. If you have a contract and your attorney signs the contract, but you don't sign the contract, but your attorney does that still mean the contract's valid? So, Miss Daniels had, her attorney had, and then Mr. Cohen had signed it. And so even though Mr. Trump didn't put his signature on it, his attorney did. And so should that have been enough? I know, after dark, I know I'm a bad person. Oh my goodness, we're all going to be crazy after this, everyone. Crazy like a fox. Yes, well, laughter, Vicky, I tell you, it really is the most important thing. You have to be able to chuckle, everybody. Plausible deniability. Well, true. But on the other hand, again, we talked about it. If you were sitting on the jury and you saw a contract signed by all parties and the one party's attorney signed it, would that be enough for you? Would that be enough? Reality melted in 2016. Yeah, about 2 a.m. If I remember correctly, that's when things started getting wavy. Oh my goodness. Yeah, exactly. Yes, exactly. So it's possible that his signature not being on it, it might have given them pause, but it will depend on whether or not those jurors find Mr. Cohen's signature to be enough, because he was representing Mr. Trump. He signed that contract. And so that, if he had the power of attorney, well, that's another question to see. Is that detail something that's important to the jury or not? We just don't know at this point. We don't know. That may be important to know. Did he have permission to sign? But do you usually ask that? If someone has an attorney, do you usually ask them, do you have power of attorney to sign for your client? Do you ask them that to make sure that when the attorney signs for them, that it's legit? I mean, that's just a question to ask yourself. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I would ask for that. I don't know if I would say, do you have the right to sign for that, or can you just sign for anything? I mean, we might, because we're in here talking about this trial and breaking it down and like using up all of our ink cartridges. But the regular person, the normal people out there. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I mean, you could ask for it. I'm just wondering, what does the average person do? What do they do? I don't know. That's why the tape of Cohen complaining about Trump stiffing him is important. I agree. That's important. He's on the recordings acknowledging everything, so it doesn't matter. I think that's very important, Lori. I think his own words, whenever his own words can be used, like in the E. Jean Carroll deposition and in any of his rallies, his own words, he is going to be the most damaging character against him in this case, is his own words. And if you get his own words coming back on, yeah, absolutely. Average people are the best. You're right, average person. I agree. You know what I mean. Like the normal people. Oh my goodness. He talks so much. How can he? Well, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I don't know. It's so interesting because Mr. Trump just has this unique way of, which, I don't know, maybe it's not unique, but I find it unique. This unique way of just being like, if you say something, he'll just be like, no, it's not. He'd be like, well, I like bananas. They're my favorite fruit. And he's like, no, you don't. They're not your favorite fruit. In fact, they're not even a fruit. They're a peanut. Bananas are peanuts. And it's like he expects everybody to believe that. And some people do. And then some people, like the National Enquirer people, are like, oh my gosh, bananas are peanuts. Like all of a sudden, like that's the new world. Yeah, the gaslighting. But it's not even gaslighting. It's like he's inhaling the gas and is like, yo, whatever I tell you is like what it is, man. I know. It's really, it's just a new, it's a new way of looking at reality. I have a neighbor like that. I know. Well, yes. And we've all had that moment. I mean, I had many moments like that where, I've gotten into an argument and I blocked myself into a corner when I'm making a particular legal argument, and they're like, well, what about this? And I'm like, well, it's just not right. That's just not how it is. And they're like, well, what do you have to base that on? I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's just not right because I say so. Like, what are you, my mom? Like, come on, only your parents get away with that because I said so. Like, come on, you need evidence. Oh my God. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. It is bewitching. And it's nice because sometimes the easy route, if I could live, I tell you what, everybody, all right? If I could live my life, if I could wake up tomorrow and the only thing I had to do was change my idea of what a banana was into that it's a peanut, and then I could be happy, I would do that. I would totally do that. If that's all I had to do, you know what I'm saying? So, there's something that's very attractive about that. Very attractive of being able to follow a path rather than struggling on your own. There's something very, very nice about that. So, Fox said in court were lies. Well, right. I mean, of course. I mean, it's easier to say that, though, isn't it? It's the path of least resistance. And if the path of least resistance is following, and if they make it easy for you to follow and then go for it, it's an easier route. Now, I'm not saying that all following is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when you follow so much that you don't think for yourself, because thinking for yourself is hard. It's a difficult road. It is a difficult thing to do, to think for yourself. It's much more difficult. It takes more effort. So if you don't have to think for yourself, that would be the easier choice. Yes, exactly. Right. So let's see if I can get I can't get the cowboy hat. Which side is a stronger case? In my opinion, when I've seen the evidence, I think the state has a stronger case. And that's because they've got all the documents. They've got all the checks, all of the daily ledgers, all of the invoices. So in my opinion, the state's case is pretty strong. But I've not seen the defense's evidence. I don't know what the defense is going to put on. They don't even have to put on a case, but, that's not their job. They just have to discredit the state. But the state's case looks strong, but anytime again you put it in front of a jury, it's 50-50 shot. His saddle hair for a minute. I don't know what's going on with his hair. I don't know. Not if you're used to it. Well, I think right. It gets easier. It gets easier to not do anything. It doesn't ever get harder to not do anything, I don't think. I think it just keeps rolling. You keep rolling down the hill. You can't predict a jury. You're absolutely right. You really can't. There's no way to truly know. With any case, but this case, if I'm just looking at it from the evidence point of view, and the evidence is very strong, and there's a lot of it too. We have a lot. We have all of our exhibits, again, all of the state's exhibits, the video, the emails, the texts, the contracts that were signed, the headlines, the stories that were run. I mean, it just keeps piling up. Good, clean verdict to him. Yeah, I agree, Mary. I agree with that. I think that's always great. I think if you can just, just get to the end of it. And that's one of the reasons why the state is like, we're not looking for jail here. We understand that we've got some contempt issues, but we're not asking for jail because we want to get to the end. We want to finish up, get to the goal. So, and I think that they're clipping along here. And it makes sense, too, that the judge had said for Barron's high school graduation, too. The judge had said, well, we'll have to wait and see. And we're clipping along at a pretty good rate at this point. So I think, that was a good choice. Where the Secret Service, they are in and amongst the people. So we don't know what they look like, but they are in and amongst all of the people in the room. So they're in here. Do. Secret Service, in there somewhere. Prosecution have to disclose all exhibits before trial. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And you should, absolutely. Defense should have all the witnesses' names, all of the exhibits, all of the information, all of that should be given to the defense, and rightfully so. They should have access to all of that. because the state, the government, the prosecutors shouldn't ever need to win because of being sneaky. They should always have enough evidence, enough proof to go forward to win because they had a good, clean fight, but not because they did something sneaky or tricky. That's how the state's supposed to work. Now, does it work that way every time? I can't say that it does, but that's how it's supposed to work. We're not supposed to hide the ball because there's just so many resources from the state versus the defendants. Right. That's why they have such a huge burden of proof as well, because they're already starting with so far ahead of the game for everyone else. So, yeah, I think all of that information has to be given over in plenty of time for defense to review it and take a look and come up with a defense for it. That's part of the rights that you have in the Constitution. Right. How to get away with that. First of all, I've never really watched those How to Get Away with things, but I've heard a lot of things about it, and people have told me that they're amazing, and I may need to do that. I may need to look into that and see if I feel the same, if it's true or not, because I personally can't give out that kind of information. How do we know if Trump's lawyers are getting the witnesses' names in advance? Great question. So all of that information had to be disclosed. If it wasn't disclosed, they would have asked for dismissal. They would have gone in front of Judge Merchan and they would have said this case should have been dismissed because of a Brady violation, which I think they did actually a few times. And Judge Merchan said, nope, everything's been complied with. So all the defense has to do is file a motion and have a hearing, and then the judge reviews it, and then he could toss the case out. But they've already done that, and they've said the information was given. Actually, the state went above and beyond what they needed to do in this case, if I remember Judge Merchan's wording here. And so, yeah, they're good to go. Great question, though. It's a valid question. Yeah, I think oh, you're welcome, old Grumpy. You're absolutely welcome. Yeah, I hope they have a good graduation. I mean, that, every this would be every kid's worst nightmare, I would imagine. I can't even say anything negative about, Mr. Barron. I just can't. This has got to be a nightmare for him. So I wouldn't want it to be in my world. He ain't going. That's a good question, Jennifer. I wonder if he will go or not. I mean, he got the time off, but it's not like it was a court order that he had to go. He doesn't have to attend the graduation. He just got the time off during the graduation. So will he go? Will he not go? Or will he go to the location but hold a rally in the parking lot? That's what I'm wondering. I'm like, are they renting a building at his graduation to hold a rally? I don't know. The bronze and the brazen. That's funny, Cozy. Hilarious. Thanks for everything. Oh my gosh, of course you're welcome. You're so welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to be able to come in and talk this out and talk about these fun things and have some laughs. We all need to laugh more, everyone. We have to laugh more. It's our medication. He can't rip buildings because he did pay his bills. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I could just see them like chiseling his name off of one of the buildings. I tease, I joke. I joke. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, would be mad. Right. But I mean, what could he do though? I mean, he didn't order him to go, he doesn't have a court order. He just said, yes, you don't have to be in court at this day and time. So we'll see. I know, Michelle. I know, I'm with you. I'm with you. Oh my goodness. No rent spaces. Yeah, I know. He's got some problems for sure. He's definitely got some. But even before all of this happened, it sounds like he always had some questions about whether or not he was going to pay his bills. What's happening in Georgia? So, Georgia's on pause right now because Georgia has a lot of other stuff going on. So they just have a huge backlog of cases. They've got a huge RICO case going on down there with Mr. Thug. I wonder if that's starting to wrap up or not. That was a huge, massive indictment. So they were dealing with those kinds of things. But there's really not a lot of movement right now because we have interlocutory appeals going. So until we see a hearing date set or briefs filed for those kinds of, for the appeals, there's not going to be a lot of movement. Yep. Yep, it's just kind of tangled up right now because they're appealing. They're appealing Judge McAfee's decision to keep Fani Willis in. They're appealing the First Amendment question as well. So those things will have to kind of get resolved before they can keep going. Although, oh my gosh, Lori, thank you so much. Although Judge McAfee says he's not going to slow the trial down while they're waiting on those appeals, but he's right in the middle of a pretty major case right now. So that's really how his world's pretty busy right now, along with the DA Willis. Cop City, Georgia, Rico. I've not heard anything on Cop City. Again, I think it's another one of those situations where Fulton County is so immense in this huge trial right now. They just don't have any time or any ability or resources to do anything else. I do have an eye out on it, though. I do have a note. I have like a couple of dozen things I try to check every day, do a little peek here and there, and Cop City's on that list. So I do check, but I'm not seeing anything. Oh, the bear's back. Oh, we love the bear. That's so sweet. So yeah, and now Arizona. Oh, I know, Arizona. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, they've got some very interesting things going on. I believe it's principal agent law that applies. I agree, facts matter. I agree. But the question is, if that particular area of the law is important to the jury, is that a critical element? Is that something that they will be instructed on? Will they be given an instruction only Cohen's signature so long as there's an agreement under the law? Then it would count as the equivalent of his signature. I don't know. Isn't that, I mean, that's such an interesting point, though, is whether or not our jurors are going to wonder about that. I don't know. We will see. The 2 federal cases are waiting on a decision on immunity. So just the DC case. The Florida case is like getting to be a big mess right now. They're just tossing paperwork all over the place. Judge Cannon has not changed the trial date. Technically, we're still going to trial in a couple of weeks in Florida because she has not set the trial date, moved the trial date. So technically, we're still on schedule to have the Florida trial case going in a few weeks. So hopefully she'll kind of get on that. We'll see what's happening. But right now we're just dealing in paperwork. We've got scheduling nightmares. It's just a mess from someone who is not staying like on top of an orderly case docket. So I'm not concerned about it. I think it just is one of those, it's just a mess right now. It's not legally, it's not a mess. The arguments aren't a mess. It's just one of those things where her docket just isn't very clean right now. Cannon shenanigans. I think that's true. Would the election in Georgia change the judge? It's possible. I'm not sure exactly how their procedures would be in Georgia. So if it was in my jurisdiction and my judge didn't come back after the election or after January when the next one came in, it would just be whatever cases were on the docket, the new judge would pick up. Yeah, not organized. She's organized, but she's only organized in her own way. Like not in the ways of the full docket. She's like just one little corner is organized. Like, what are you doing? So I'm not concerned about it until I tell you what though, if we get into next week and we don't have an order for a new trial or for a new trial date at this point or a hearing, we've already had a hearing on when to have it. Everyone's filed everything. If she doesn't set a new date out by next week, I will start getting like, wow, lady, come on. You got to set it because we're set for trial. We are set for trial in Florida. She just needs to figure out a date and move that. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Why did she get such a huge case? Luck of the draw or unlucky draw. It's a spin the wheel situation and her number came up. Could they pick a jury in Florida and then pause the start of the trial until after the New York? No, great question on that. No, they wouldn't go at the same time. Everything in Florida would have to be kicked down the road because there's no way they could even pick a jury without Mr. Trump being present. And he has to be present in New York. So he can't be present there. That's why she needs to start, taking care of business here and getting stuff sorted out. Because things are, it's just getting messy. It's getting messy at this point. Wait until the last second before the election. Perhaps. She's his judge. I don't know about that. She's been She's been getting all over. I think it's been Nada lately. Nada, is it been? I can't remember if it's Nada or De Oliveira. One of them has been making some filings, and she's been like, "No, that's wrong. Redo it. Nope, redo it. Nope, redo it." So there's a lot of that going on right now with one of the defendants. I can't remember which one, but it's just like, she's getting bogged down in the tiny details rather than looking at like, wow, maybe I should move the trial date. Like, well, it'd be a good idea since it's set for just a couple of weeks, but whatever. I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Is it Nada? Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate it. Yeah, I cannot keep those two separated. And I think it's because I think it's just because they both kind of, to me, are the same kind of character, because they've got lawyers paid for by Trump, and so they're just kind of in the same basket. Could someone build a fire under her? I don't know. I think she's actually on fire, so I'm not sure she would notice if someone put a fire under her. That's my view. I think everything is on fire with that woman. Oh, that poor judge. I think she's just needing to, she needs to step back and notice what's going on, because there's destruction. Yeah, I think she's got. Could New York be done in a couple weeks? Great question. So let's just take a peek quick before I wrap this up for tonight. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't think I think there's plenty of fuel on that fire. All right, here we go, everyone. So we'll do a quick overview here. I've got, this is our New York trial calendar. We are third week here, so we're into May on day 10 here. Now we've got, I would say we're probably halfway through, or maybe, I don't know, maybe a third halfway through the state. So I would predict we've got 10 that have already come. We've had one, let's see, we started here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've had 5 days in 2 weeks. So I would say, I'm going to say probably right around here is when I would predict the state would be done. I wouldn't be surprised if the state was done by the 24th, and then that gives the defendants a couple of weeks, and it depends on how weird they want to be. If they want to bring in 200 witnesses like they did in the civil case, it's going to take a while. But if they're just going to put on what they need and set it up and knock it down nice and clean, they probably only need a couple of weeks. That takes us into maybe the third week in June at the latest, and then a couple of days for rebuttal and closing. So they could be out for deliberations by the 21st in June is what I'm predicting. That to me doesn't seem unreasonable. So I think that would be possible. It's a couple of weeks beyond what Judge Merchan had wanted originally, but I think it really is going to depend on how defense sets up their witnesses. I really have no idea how they're going to deal with their witnesses, so that's why I'm giving it a little bit of extra time. Yep, he does need a custom neck pillow. He does. So that's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting deliberation by the 21st, and we'll probably, I would be shocked if we didn't have a verdict by July 1st. Shocked. But then again, I get shocked a lot. So defense will delay. That's a good question. And that's really up to them. I mean, it's up to them how they want to run their witnesses. But the most complicated state witness here only went 3 days. So, and I don't know. I mean, some of these witnesses defense hasn't even cross-examined. And their cross-examinations have been pretty short. So I'm not really sure. I've not really seen them in action, but based off of how the state's been proceeding, I don't see them taking up too much more time, but I've got no idea when it comes to the defense. We'll have to see how it goes. So with that, everybody, and I'm taking a peek at my clock here, I will go ahead and sign off for tonight. Thank you all for joining me. So much fun. I will plan to be back on. I don't know exactly when. Again, you'll have to watch for my posts. I'm posting each day on whether or not I will go. but I will be doing a reading of the transcripts. So the next couple of lives will be transcripts readings. So watch for those posts. And I'm not sure again exactly when. I might be more around the lunch hour tomorrow. I like to try to go a little bit earlier so I can catch anyone that I miss in the evenings. So I will be back doing transcripts readings over the next few days. Exactly when, you'll just have to keep an eye out on my posts. But always great to see you all. Hopefully you were able to get some interesting insight and a few chuckles. So hopefully. But thank you all for coming and hanging out with me. Thank you to the moderators. You are always working so hard, and I'm always eternally grateful to you. So I wish everyone a really wonderful night. Have a great night, a very good day tomorrow. And I will see you all very soon, and we will do some fun transcripts. So take care, everyone. Have a great night.